I'd like to now introduce His Holiness Varsana Maharaj. How many of you have not met Maharaj? Raise your hand. Have not met. Okay. So His Holiness Varsana Maharaj has been in the movement since 1972. Joined in New York City. Is that the right year? 1972. Joined in New York City. But he was a country boy. And he quickly left the city and came to Vrindaban. And was inspired by Prabhupada's vision for simple living and high thinking. And he has taken the mission that Srila Prabhupada gave for New Vrindaban, the dual mission, which is to live simply, in harmony with the land, the cows, at the same time develop a replica of Vrindaban, India, the place of Krishna, 5,000 temples, beautiful holy place of pilgrimage with many, many thousands of people. So Maharaj is very loved by all the devotees. His humility and his erudition in the scriptures and his austerities. We could write volumes of literature on the austerities he has performed to try to serve his spiritual master. And tonight he is going to bless us with his knowledge, his wisdom, and his understanding of Krishna and his devotees. Specifically, we're speaking on the 6 Goswamis tonight. We also have a prayer written by Srinivasacharya, prayers to the 6 Goswamis. We'll be chanting this later on, maybe towards the end of his lecture. And we have the words here for everyone, translations on the back. So without further ado, we'd like to officially welcome His Holiness Maharaj, Varsana Maharaj, to the program tonight by loudly chanting Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! His Holiness Varsana Maharaj ki Jai!
In honor of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, whose appearance we are celebrating today, along with Ramachandra Kaviraj, the very dear disciple of Srinivasacharya, an intimate friend of Narottam Das Thakur, who also appeared today. We will be hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 9, Lord Chaitanya's travels to the holy places of South India. And we'll be hearing this section because this had to have been spoken by Gopal Bhatta Goswami to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote it. Because until the time that Gopal Bhatta Goswami arrived in Vrindavan, the Goswamis and the Brijavasis there had no information and no witnesses to Lord Chaitanya's pilgrimage in South India. Now, the section we'll be discussing really focuses on Gopal Bhatta Goswami, but his name in the text will be conspicuous by its absence, as it is also in the rest of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In spite of the fact that he was one of the most prominent of the 6 Goswamis, who were the most prominent Brijavasis in Vrindavan, in this most important scripture, regarding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's name is not even mentioned. Because to write this topmost of all scriptures, the very postgraduate study of Srimad Bhagavatam, the life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Bhagavatam personified, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, having this order given to him by the Goswamis and the Brijavasis, feeling himself in his natural humility to be most unworthy, he sought foremost and first of all the blessings of both the deities and the Goswamis and the prominent devotees of Vrindaban for their blessings to compile this treatise. And he naturally approached Gopal Bhatta Goswami for his blessings and also for his information, especially regarding Lord Chaitanya's South Indian tour, of which Gopal Bhatta Goswami was the only witness. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami said, I will give you my blessings. And he told him about what he knew, what he witnessed of Lord Chaitanya's South Indian tour, but on the condition you do not mention my name anywhere in this great scripture. So the pastime we'll be discussing tonight really revolves around Gopal Bhatta, who at the time was 7 years old. But his name is not mentioned here or anywhere for that reason. Nonetheless, other acharyas, such as Ganesham, have written elaborately the glories of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, being in his specific succession. So we will fill in with the text of Bhakti Radhakar what is missing here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The year is 1510. Lord Chaitanya has departed Jagannath Puri for a pilgrimage to the south. And he has come to Rangakshetra, Sri Rangam, the place where Ranganath deity has been worshipped since time immemorial, the largest temple in all of India, the headquarters for the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and the residence place of Jamunacharya, Ramanujacharya. Lord Chaitanya appears on the scene, chanting and dancing in great ecstasy before the deity. And one of the prominent devotees in that town, Bhatta, approaches Lord Chaitanya and begs him, pleads with him, that now that the Chaturmasya, meaning the 4 months of the rainy season, is just beginning, a time when sannyasis stay in one place, please make your residence in my home. And being very attracted by the humility and devotion of Bhatta, Lord Gauranga agreed. Also there at the temple, and reciting Bhagavad Gita just outside the temple, was the famous illiterate Brahmana. In this center academic learning and scriptural discussion, where the greatest pundits of South India would discuss deeply topics of scripture in public. One Brahmana every day was reciting Bhagavad Gita, but he was illiterate. He couldn't even read the words properly or pronounce them. And people were laughing at him and mocking him. But Lord Gauranga was drawn to him. And he asked him, "My dear sir, why are you in such a deep, ecstatic love? What portion of Bhagavad Gita is giving you such transcendental pleasure?" And the Brahmin replied, "I am illiterate. I don't know the meaning of the words. I may read correctly or not. But I am performing this service on behalf of the orders of my spiritual master." And Lord Gauranga was seeing that tears were flowing from his eyes in deep ecstatic love. So he asked him, what portion of the Gita is giving you such pleasure? And he said, "I can't understand the words, but when I read, I am seeing Lord Shri Krishna taking the reins of Arjuna's chariot, the Supreme Lord serving his devotee in this menial fashion. And he appears so beautiful and blackish. And that gives me the greatest happiness. On the orders of my spiritual master, and for the pleasure of seeing Krishna in the Gita, I'm reciting this scripture every day, and my mind cannot be distracted from it." And Lord Gauranga told the Brahmana, "Indeed, you are the authority on Bhagavad Gita, and what purport of that sacred scripture." Then Lord Gauranga embraced that Brahmana, and he fell to the ground crying at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga. And he said, "Seeing you, my happiness is doubled, and therefore I can understand that you are that same Lord Shri Krishna." Thereafter, Lord Gauranga himself personally instructed that Brahmana and requested him, "Do not reveal to anyone what you have understood about me." So then, Lord Gauranga went to the house of Gopal Bhatta, who lived with his two brothers, Tirumala Bhatta and Prabodhananda Saraswati. And Venkat had a 7-year-old son, Gopal. Srila Kavi Karnapur has given the ontological identity of some of these personalities in his Kora Gonadesh Devika. He explains that Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani, for the purpose of embellishing Lord Gauranga's pastimes, took birth in the south, in Srirangam. And the Gopi Tungavidya, most enlightened of all the cowherd girls in scriptural knowledge, took birth there as well, as Prabodhananda Saraswati, glorified amongst the sannyasis as Saraswati, Prabodhananda Saraswati. So when Lord Gauranga came to their home, Venkat worshipped Lord Gauranga and washed his lotus feet, drank that water, and shared it with all his family members. And when little Gopal drank that Charnamrita, he fell at the feet of Lord Gauranga crying. absorbed in deep love for the Lord. And Venkat, his father, was so delighted to see that his child was developing affection and attachment for this great sannyasi. Every day, the Lord would go with this family to bathe in the Kaveri River, for artik at the temple, and he would joke with them in a very friendly manner. But being of Lord Krishna's Vrindavan entourage, little Gopal, 7-year-old child, did not find the sannyas form of Lord Gauranga to be pleasing to him. It was very painful to him. And although he served the Lord with such affection and delight, he would lament bitterly in private. And he was condemning Providence. Why are you so cruel that you have cast me off to this far-off distant land of South India, where I was bereft the darshan of Lord Gauranga in his Navadvip Leela as the husband of the goddess of fortune. Why has he taken to this harsh, austere, lonely life of a sannyasi? And why have you, Providence, allowed me only darshan of this form? Then he, after condemning Providence, he forgave Providence. It's actually my misfortune that I was bereft of that darshan of the Lord of Navadvip. And while he was crying bitterly, he fell like asleep, but he entered a trance in which he saw the entire, what was previously that emporium of culture and learning, transformed into a city of kirtan. He saw the entire landscape of Navadvip with Lord Gauranga. At his side was Advaita and Lord Nityananda, leading the thousands in ecstatic Harinam Sankirtan. And Gopal was there, right at the side of Lord Gauranga. He actually entered into the Navadvip Leela they so much longed to see. And he was dancing with the Lord and his associates in Navadvip, seeing the Lord as the husband of Lakshmi, with his beautiful wavy hair cascading down the sides of his beautiful moon-like face, flaring out across his shoulders, and the Malati garlands swinging to and fro as he danced, decorated with beautiful jewels and ornaments. And little Gopal's deepest aspirations were so perfectly fulfilled. And then Lord Nityananda and Advaita reached down and embraced him and were about to say something very confidential into his ear when he awoke in his private quarters in his father's house in Sri Rangam. And in great exhilaration, he ran into Lord Gauranga's room and paid obeisances. And when he looked up, it was not Lord Gauranga. It was this threefold bending form of Shyama Sundar, glancing upon him with such affection and compassion. Gopal again paid his obeisances and looked up, and it was again Navadvip Chandra, as he had seen in the vision. Lord Gauranga as a householder, the husband of the goddess of fortune. He offered this dandavats again and looked up, and it was the same sannyasi who had recently arrived in Sri Rangam. And Gopal, in great exhilaration, was thinking how all his deepest aspirations and longings were so perfectly fulfilled by the mercy of the Lord. Lord Gauranga was very satisfied and pleased with the humility and devotion of this family. And yet, he detected an element of spiritual pride in the heart of Venkat, who was thinking that Lakshmi and Narayan are the supreme personality, or Narayan, with Lakshmi, is the supreme personality of Godhead. Swayam Bhagavan, the avatari, of whom Krishna and Ram are incarnations, expansions. And his reasoning was that Narayan is unborn, Aja, whereas Krishna and Ram take birth. So Lord Gauranga, being that same Madhusudana, the killer of the demon of doubt and pride, in a very joking way, questioned Venkat. No one is equal in opulence to your Lord Narayan and his goddess Lakshmi, whereas my Lord has no opulence of any kind and is served by goddesses who are simple village cowherd girls with no opulence. Why is it that your Lakshmi, your goddess of fortune, desires to associate with my Lord Krishna in Vrindaban? And Venkat said that there is no fault on her part because Krishna and Narayan are identical according to theological doctrine. And yet, Krishna is superior by dint of divine sentiment. And since they're the same person, it is natural that Lakshmi would want to associate with her husband in this other feature, which has the adventurous, mischievous, and romantic aspects lacking in Narayan. So there's no fault on her part. She just wants to associate with her husband in another of his features. And Lord Gauranga said, then why is it that even after abandoning all the opulence of Vaikuntha and the worship of her majestic Lord, going to Vrindavan and in Srivan performing great tapasya for centuries on end, she was not able to enter into the circle of Ras. She was not able to associate with Krishna. And then Venkat said that I'm an insignificant jiva. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This I've already detected. Will you please answer this question? And Lord Chaitanya explained that the goddess of fortune could not associate with Krishna because she could not give up her conception of being the goddess of fortune. She could not give up the opulent, majestic feature of Narayan. And most of all, she could not follow in the footsteps of the gopis. Now what does this mean? The acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya are all Brijabasis. They are all the eternal residents of Vrindaban. And their lives embody aspects of the absolute truth, which gives us faith in the possibility and reality of Krishna consciousness in our own lives. Following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan means following the instructions of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, who come into this world as sadhakas, although they are nityasiddhas, to teach us by their example as well as their words how to tread the path to Braja, to enter into the circle of Ras, to associate with Krishna. Lakshmi did not follow that path. Try as she might, for centuries on end in the forest of Shrivan, she could only have a vision across the Jamuna of the Rasa Leela. She could not approach, or to speak of enter, into the confidential association of Krishna. And try as she might, she continually found herself only in the association of Lord Narayan, her object of worship. Whereas the gopis, when, at the height of Rasa Leela, Krishna disappeared from the circle of Ras, and they went searching frantically for him, asking everyone, have you seen Krishna? Where has he gone? And Krishna, to have some fun, appeared before them as Narayan. And when the gopis saw Narayan, they bowed down respectfully and asked, have you seen which way Krishna is gone? And with 4 hands he pointed that way. And they ran off with no interest whatsoever in Narayan. Respectful they were, but not attracted. And then when Srimati Radharani came alone after the other gopis and she saw Lord Narayan, and she asked him, have you seen which way Krishna has gone? Then the extra 2 arms of his forearm melted away. And try as he might to sustain his disguise, it vanished. And he was captured and bound in the only way he can be, by pure, simple, sweet love and affection, bhakti. So, hearing these descriptions of the sweetness, beauty, and charm of Braj Bhakti, and Gopal Bhatta and his brothers became attracted both to Lord Gauranga and the worship of Radha and Krishna. And then, as Gopal Bhatta was hearing all these discussions, and his mind was fixed in service to Lord Gauranga. So when the 4 months of the rainy season were approaching their close, and Chaturmasi was about to end, the whole family was lamenting. Lord Gauranga will leave Srirangam. And then the crowds of devotees will disperse, and this house will be empty. Who will joke with us? Who will go bathe with us in the river? Who will go to the temple with us for Nam Sankirtan when Lord Gauranga leaves? And they begged him to stay a little longer, which he actually did. But he had already told little Gopal that you have to serve your parents who are pure devotees. But his parents told him to dedicate his life to the service of Lord Gauranga. Lord Gauranga told him, serve your parents until they return to Golok. And then go to Vrindaban. There are two jewels there named Rupa and Sanatan, which is interesting because Lord Gauranga hadn't met them yet. He hadn't been to Ramakela yet. What to speak of even them going to Vrindaban, but he's telling Gopal, go to Vrindaban, become like a younger brother to Rupa and Sanatan. And then he left Ramachitra. So Gopal served his parents very faithfully, very lovingly. And when they were about to depart this world, they gave their final blessings. Surrendered to Lord Gauranga, go to Vrindavan as he desired. And they ascended to Golok. And he made his way to Vrindavan. After promising his father that he would worship Lord Chaitanya throughout his life. In coming to Vrindavan, he met Rupa Sanatan, dedicated his life to their service. And they were worshipping their own deities. Sanatana Goswami worshipped Madana Mohan, Rupa Goswami, Govindaji. Gopal Bhatta walked to Nepal, to the Gandaki River, and collected 12 Shalagram Shilas to be his worshipable deity, which he carried back to Vrindavan. Then he was thinking, I'm not qualified to be worshipping these Shalagram Shilas. And in his humility, he walked all the way back to Nepal and carefully put the Shalagram Shilas back in the river where he had found them. And then they jumped out of the river back into his basket.